where are we really at right now in comics? So a little bit of how we got there with the changes in technology and where we will be going soon. Just sort of an overview, sort of a state of the union, if you will. And anyone can start. Or not. Right?
I'll start.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm Daniel Corey. Hi, you already said that. So I know a few years ago when I really started trying to work my way into comics, it was about 2007, 2008. Things were not digital quite yet, but like almost there. But, we had self-publishing was starting to really become a thing, and we had these on-demand print houses like Ka-Blam, popping up, and suddenly things became possible. Writers, comic book writers, generally are expected to self-publish in the beginning. So if you're a writer and you want to start getting involved in comics, think about self-publishing. So that made that possible. And then a few years later, Comixology and a lot of these apps came up. So that's when we entered the digital age. And now Comixology is kind of the number one digital app for comics, and it's been bought by Amazon, so now it's Comixology Amazon. Anyways, things have, I don't know. It's interesting. For a while, when Comixology first hit and these apps started hitting, people were saying comic shops are going to close. This is the end of print as we know it. But with comics as well as with regular fiction and nonfiction, novels and whatnot, the digital and the print seem to have learned to coexist, and the market has changed. Some stores, we saw Borders books close down. Some shops have closed down, but certainly print is still alive, and we still have so many fans that love print books. But it's just like whenever you have new technology, new media, things emerging, it's kind of a Wild West situation. You don't know what's going to happen. I think right now, as far as the balance between print and digital is kind of maybe leveling off to where it's going to be for a while now. I don't know if anybody has better numbers on that. But I guess that's just a little bit of what I had to say about just print versus digital. I don't know if anybody has anything specific about what specific publishers are doing, DC Rebirth or anything like that. But what do you guys think?
The only thing I know about DC and digital is that I know at one point, this goes back a couple of years ago, one of the things that you probably remember when DC was, they would release their digital a week after they released their print, and then they changed that and made a lot of retailers mad that they went to same-day digital. Well, the reason that they told me they did that is because they felt like they were losing 20,000 units per title every month.
Holy cow.
To piracy because of that. And so they moved the digital back to same day as print in an effort to battle that. Now, I don't know that they've got any accurate numbers as to how they battled that or not, but part of the problem with the digital is monetizing, is that there's no real, everyone that I talk to, no one really wants to talk numbers. Everyone that I talk to is like, the digital's there, but it's not really doing that well. Even with Comixology and with Indie Planet, these things are so readily available, but most of the people I talk to are like, I don't get that many sales through digital. All the sales are still coming through print. And the only way we have to track the print is through Diamond Comics distribution, and if you're a follower of comics, that John Jackson Miller does a comic, I never can get this right, I think it's comiccron.com, in which he examines, basically he just kind of posts the numbers every single month so that you can look at them. And of course, DC's Rebirth has higher numbers than the industry's had in 15 years. But this is the print, and so there's no way to really know what they're doing digitally. So, and the other thing is that those numbers are only the books that go through Diamond. So you would not know the numbers for books that don't get carried through Diamond distribution, that you go down to MegaCon and pick up your favorite book from your favorite indie artist or writer down there. If they're not in Diamond, there's no way of really knowing, unless they report it, there's no way of really knowing how many copies they sell.
There's also like you got trade publications that are distributed through Baker Taylor and whatnot, and then there's libraries.
Right.
So there's a lot of different tracks you can follow with print. But as far as the monthlies with the floppies and whatnot, Diamond is the vein and the source for it. That's where all the shop owners used to order from, and
I will say, just from almost a consumer standpoint, and personally, I think it is an exciting time as far as availability or accessibility with so many things out there digitally. I can remember the days when you would buy a comic as a kid and there'd be an ad in the back for another comic, and you go, gee, I wish I had that, or I wish I'd bought that when I was at the newsstand or the grocery store with the magazine rack, and that comic was gone and it wasn't as easy. You had to save your pennies and order a hard copy. Now, almost everything is out there legally, digitally. Let me emphasize legally. But I do find it, great if somebody tells me there's, an interesting title, I can at least go get to the digital reading of it. And I do tend to think of maybe digital as reading copies versus the things you love, you want to own a hard copy of.
So you buy the hard copy and slab it?
I think, yeah. But, and I'm excited by things like Hoopla that you can get through libraries and then read things that you might not want to buy, but you can check them out and read them. And I've been able to catch up on a lot of titles that way. So just as far as everything being at your fingertips. And some people may not remember times when everything wasn't at your fingertips, but there was like this vast wasteland at one time where there were all these things back there that you heard about, but you couldn't watch before YouTube and before digital comics. And now everything's out there, with the exception of some DC stuff, I guess, it's not digitized yet.
I know, like for me, if I have a meeting with a publisher, 2 days from now, I'm like, I'll go read, all 30 issues of this run before that meeting, and just go out on Comixology, and bam, it's pretty convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to define digitally a little differently than most people do, and I've got a vested interest to do that. But for me, there's digital for the screen and there's digital for print as well. I mean, because it's the same files that you're viewing on the screen, if the resolution is high enough, that I'm going to print digitally in a print-on-demand environment. So if somebody, and what that has the effect of doing is, for creators and publishers, is really dropping the barrier to entry. Because when Roland and I were coming up in the 90s, into comics, if you wanted to self-publish, if you wanted to dip your foot in the pool there, then you had to print thousands and thousands of copies and park in your driveway because your garage was full of boxes of unsold books. And and not everybody was willing to spend, a few $1,000s to get that done, to be able to prove that I'm a comics creator. This is my work. Now what you've got to do to be able to say that I am a published creator is publish one book in print or online, and you're in. You've got something to show someone. If your goal is to work for a major publisher, they don't want to see, or they're less inclined to look at a script. If you show
photocopies.
Or photocopies. If you show them a printed book, professionally printed book, or a professionally prepared digital book you can show them on a screen, then your chances of getting in go up significantly. And you can do that now far easier than you could, 20 years ago when we were coming along.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the quality is, so much better
It is.
than what could have been printed back then.